Midnight Charlie Man. It's the 8th today, the 8th of December 2024. I have put another blanket over there actually. This one here is quadruple, that's triple. I just put another one up, and the neighbours are being, a couple of them are being you know, complex cost. The neighbours are being a bit loud today. Yeah, what's new with that? It's, you know, it gets a Sunday and they go, yeah, we're the quiet ones. I put another moving blanket up 2 metres over that way, and I feel better about that. Geez, it'd be nice if it rained down, wouldn't it? Be nice, really nice if it rained. Now, recently, I've been taking notice of, I've always taken notice of things, but recently I've been really taking notice of, I always take notice of society, people everywhere, and the huge advertisements. You've got Circular Quay in Sydney, in the Sydney CBD, and you've got the bullshit tram that goes along, and mainly filled with tourists, and there's a few locals on there, and I observe the people on there. They're a bit zombie-like. They're a bit. You usually got either one of two looks with them. It's usually either or. Sydney's a walking city, so it's very easy to walk from Town Hall down to Circular Quay. It takes 10 minutes. Never actually needed the tram. Off subject, yes. Now, there's these huge. They have these huge advertisements, billboard like they have these huge advertisements on the side of the tram, and it's all about subliminal, reaching the person's subconscious. You know, buy this, buy that, get something you don't need. Though the product actually was not Revlon, it was a makeup product, and I said to Michelle, oh, after I just said all that, I said, oh, I'm actually interested in that makeup. And everywhere I go is, I see something. People, I see advertisements, something's promoting something, advertisements for big companies, for big billionaire companies who want more money, but who are trying to seduce the general public. It's all about control, all about control. And I realise also that it's this whole thing is a generational thing, and each generation that goes by gets into a cycle. Their brain gets hardwired from birth, and to believe in this and believe in that, adopt a religion. Usually people are. It goes either of two ways. People generally are born into their religion, and there's many factors and many levels to that. But generally, people are born into their religion, and they're born into religion. Their parents were indoctrinated into that religion, and their parents before them would have been indoctrinated into that. So it's like, believe this, that's it. Believe this, that's it. And so, from a very early age, they get taken to church, they get baptized, christened, and I've got a story about that. I do. It happens from birth. Happens from birth. They get taken to church. You know, they get told what to believe. Not really given a choice, and you know, believe in the Bible, God's word, whatnot, and they then go start at school, and then. Depending on what history textbook they get, depending on what history textbook the school has chosen, depends on what sort of information or inaccurate information the child receives, okay? And because events from the books are actually the most important thing in the world. Books are the most important. They represent history, they represent philosophy, psychology, they represent all the points of view. So all the books in the world are very important. But when you're reading about history, you're getting one person's point of view, and you have to, and you're reading about anything, you have to think, okay, so this is that person's point of view, this is their truth, depending on how objective they are, because usually they're somewhat subjective, but generally they're attempting to be objective, and I think, okay, did everything happen like this? Probably not, because one person's point of view. And however, if we do get a couple of people who have the same story, then you could usually say, okay, well that's the truth. That this did happen, at least mostly this way. This happened, and that's about as much of a truth of an event that you're going to get. I'm worried about that light, yes, but I brought one down with me. That's fading rapidly, isn't it? Let me swap it out. I always bring two down with me now. I just bring two down with me. It's so much easier for myself. Yeah, so much easier. How's this? Is that better? Is that better? So I've been thinking, is this simulation, is there a possibility that it's just been designed for me, custom made for me, so that everything that happens in this world is about me, is for me, designed for me, because I'm supposed to learn a particular thing here. So what I'm saying is that the archons, the powers that be, not the Christian God is quite misleading and evil character. There's a lot to the Christian God, but it's the archons who run the reincarnation cycle, and I wonder if this simulation, if this life I'm living now, if this world has been custom designed for me. And I've heard a few other people's points of view on this, because they have said, I wonder if this is, but are they supposed to say that just that so they can not alleviate, but are they supposed to say that because it's part of what I'm supposed to hear anyway, if they just say that? The conclusion that I've come to is I don't think that the Matrix is that sophisticated, because that would be a great deal of energy, there'd be a great deal of work that would need to take place. And I think it's one design. I think there's one design of the Matrix, one design of the simulation, everyone's in it, just one design. And we've come down here to discuss that as well, with our priority of what we're. Earth is a prison planet. We're a prison planet. We come down here to learn lessons. We come here to learn lessons, and I felt like I've learnt mine. And yes, I'm thinking about 5 things at once, which I have to mention all at once. Actually, yeah. It's a soul trap. We repeatedly come down here. We repeatedly come back to. That's the whole thing. When people think of heaven and hell, they think of heaven, they think of hell, because we're hardwired to think that in a black and white, one-dimensional world, situational world. in the one-dimensional world, up, heaven, down, hell. It's not like that. That's not how it works. It's not like that at all. It's all around. In fact, it's a frequency. It's a frequency. And hell, I've come to the conclusion. After considering quite a few things, is that hell does not exist. Hell doesn't exist, and hell simply doesn't exist. There is a heaven, however, the astral realms are varied. There's the astral realm, and then we've got the different levels, and so heaven is one of those levels. But for instance, that if you're a born-again Christian, when you pass, you're likely to get greeted by the Jesus figure, and then go to what some people call the fake heaven. And at some point in that heaven, you will eventually realise that things are quite distorted, and that there's more to things than just this. That's what I wanted. You be there for a while, and then you realise that you can move on to do other things. There are, as I said, there's the astral realm, and then there's other realms, but they're all part of the matrix. They're all a part of the matrix. And I was walking down the Canterbury Alley the other day, and I thought, I was on the bus or something, and I thought, I was talking to all the younger people I observe often, and I thought, it's a generational thing. The generations come through, they get influenced by all sorts of things, and they're indoctrinated into a belief system, into what their parents believed, and they get hardwired into that. And sometimes it's hardwired for life. Hardwired for life. They do not get out of it. They do not leave it. They don't question it at all. And it's each generation that comes along that the society around them molds them, but not only it influences them greatly through media and through advertisements, through what they get taught at school, and the development of their own ideas, if that doesn't interfere with this is how it is, that's how it is. And so that is not only a major factor, that is how it happens. And it's with each generation. It happens with it's, and so we some people live their whole lives without questioning anything. Live their whole life without questioning anything at all, and they just they comply. They believe. They think that's it. That's the way it is. And then what happens is at the end of that. See, there's either two things that happens. Either two things that happens. Either you see, you will at the end of your lifetime, you'll either cease to exist, and you won't have time to be angry about that or sad about that. You just cease to exist. You just won't be. It won't be the state of nothingness, because nothingness is something, but you'll just cease to exist, and you won't be terribly worried about it because you just won't be, but that's not how energy works, because energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be changed from one form to another. Instead, what I'm 99.99% certain about is that once we depart Earth, we go into the astral realm. We go into the astral, and most people will go into the life review, and the guides and the other spirit folk, people that are there will say, well, look, you did okay here, you did all right there, but then here, in 2010 you did this, in 2005 you did that, and you didn't quite get it right. You got to go back, and they're like, oh, okay. I'm not coming back. I'm never coming back. I'm not coming back to this. Never coming back. This is my favourite lifetime. Ironic as it is to say, I feel like I've learned the most in this lifetime. And this is a prison planet, full of pain, full of dismay, despair, displeasure, anxiety. There's beauty, there's happiness, love. Love is a key. All in all, I find the world fascinating. It's fascinating to me. However, it's tragic. It's tragic. You could say hell on earth. If there is a hell on earth. And the Archons have got us in this cycle. They've got us in this cycle under this control. We get indoctrinated into patterns of what to believe and what to do, get taught a certain history, which is why I say books are the most important thing in the world, because they're the psychology of the personality of the world. And even if somebody has written something which is isn't entirely true, but it's true because through their experience, it's important. It is important. It is important. But what it is that, and traditions as well, traditions such as Christmas and Easter. And will Christmas ever be removed from society? I don't think it will, because the Archons, the powers that be, have us in a reincarnation cycle where we go into the pattern, we get indoctrinated, we get hardwired to follow the grooves, and I don't think that in 50 years' time that Christmas will fade out. I think it'll keep, because society is so hardwired, entrenched in the tradition that it's, I was going to say, be near impossible to stop to not, for society to not do that. And it takes 700 years. It takes generations and generations and generations of people. But the thing is, there's a minority of people who challenge things, who question things, who say, this doesn't seem quite right. What about if it was like this? Could it be like this? Could it be this way? I was probably about 15 or 16 when I just thought, is this some kind of game we're in? I didn't know the word simulation, didn't know it. And in my 20s I was like, we need some kind of game here. Is this some kind of... I'm going to throw the word simulation in because I just thought, am I in a simulation? Am I in a matrix? And then I got distracted by Christianity. I actually got distracted by Christianity and seduced by it. And that went on for quite a time. It never agreed with me. It never actually agreed with me. It went on for quite some time. Years and years, off and on. And every time I disconnected from it, I felt better. But then I'd go back in. But I always thought, am I living in some kind of simulation? There's some kind of simulation. And these things that keep people here, that keep souls here, is going into the pattern of norms in society. Get married, have kids, pay your taxes. And what's the number one reason? The number one reason why people reproduce? I was going to say breed. What is the number one reason? One of the number one reason why people reproduce? To preserve the bloodline, to preserve the family name, keep the family name going, keep the family name going. It's that they have to keep the family name going. Have to have a son. Have to have a son. They're not going to have a daughter. Have to have a son to keep the family name going. And that also gets hardwired into the brain, and that's what keeps the generations going in the pattern that we live in, with all the the government manipulation, the government control, and it's a pattern. It's a big pattern, and then being controlled largely. Well, I don't watch TV, and I've been off YouTube for about 10 days now. It feels great. Been locked out for about 10. I've been off YouTube for about 10 days now. It feels great. Been getting on with other things because when you watch TV, the media control the masses. The news corporations control the masses. They show you what you want to see. They keep your vibration low. They keep it low. And that's another thing with Christianity, the concept of hell. The concept of hell gives you fear. Fear. See, powers that be want you in a lower vibration. Fear. They don't want your vibration to get higher and higher. They want you to, and Christianity is fear-based, and also just you have the news, which is mostly full of tragedy. You've got the sports on the news. You have inflation rates. You have all sorts of news items, things that happen to people during the day, and the news gets a hold of it and says, we're going to put this on. And so you get home from work, you switch the TV on. Well, that's how it was in the 1980s. You get home from work, and in the 1990s, you switch the TV on. The news items of the day are presented to you, and it's usually somebody else's tragedy, or it'll be road rage, or inflation rates, or something happened with someone today, and you think it's got nothing to do with me, but I'll take it on anyway. I'll take it on and say your energy level goes down. Last time I watched TV was about 2010. No, 2012. It's the last time I watched TV, and then I broke away from that. But there's a lot of society that are entrenched with. It's not even that these days. It's media, social media. People are 95% of people on the bus are like this. Like this. And they're getting everything, all the information. Yes, the internet is a fantastic place for information. I love it, but it can be very addictive and you be careful with it. But yes, who am I to talk? It's information, news, advertising, buy this, do this, influence. And it's older folk is about 50%. Like my older, I'm young. My generation X is the best generation. Come on, Generation X, the best generation. The baby boomers are a bit stiff around the edges, aren't they? Baby boomers, they're like military-like in a sense. Generation X, we're the rebels. About 50% of Generation X are on their phones. But I don't look at my phone when I'm out. In fact, sometimes when we go out, I don't take it. But the Generation Y and the Generation Z Generation Y, Generation Z. Hi, how can I help you? Yes. I can get definitely for you if you like, yes. Now, the younger folk, I see all the school kids and the people in their 20s, and it's mostly with women. It is, and they're like this. They're like this. I watch people on the bus do this. There was a woman on the bus the other day. She was in her mid-20s and she was watching a makeup tutorial, and she's watching a makeup tutorial. I'm like, wouldn't you wait to get home to? I mean, that's sort of a bit personal. Wouldn't you wait to get home? But no, they're all on the bus. They're doing that. It's now a society where you've got at least 70% of people on their phones, and on the train, on the phones, on the buses, on the phones, and either are YouTube or Facebook doom scrolling the wall. And it's all about likes. How many, oh, they like this, they like that, they like. And society, that's what, I was just thinking of something then. Hang on. Because I have my favourite one. Is this my favourite one? I think this is still my favourite one. Wait. So you've got, geez, it's that's what, because people crave. Bruce McNeely, who's passed, he has, okay, so check in the mirror. Am I right? Okay. Do I look good? Do I look, wait. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Hey, look at me instead of the news. Wait. I am the news. Now, you got that right. Your ass will be purple for the days through. Mitch Kramer, we're looking for you, pal. Your ass will be purple for all the days through. Now, Bruce McNeely, 2NBC, and back in 1996 when I did the radio course at 2NBC, he said, what's the number one thing people crave? I came up with all different answers, and he said, no, information. The older you get, the more information that you want. Information. And, oh, that just popped at the back. That's true. It's all about information. And it popped again, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to keep fixing it. It's all around. It's very heavy. People do believe all sorts of different things. I'm generalising in a sense. People, but still still one of the most biggest things that still happens. Let me make sure I got memory. One of the biggest things that happens is from birth. People, at least 60% of the world, maybe it could be even as high as 70% of the world, get indoctrinated into their parents' religion. Believe this, that's it. And you get taught certain things in school, okay? And some of that history is inaccurate. Some of it's inaccurate. You've got to decipher that for yourself later on in life as you go along. And it's just, it comes down to a matter of reading books, and there's certain very, very good things, very, very good podcasts on YouTube, very good podcasts on YouTube. But also in regard to this matrix, actually, I just can, I'm all having 3 or 4 thoughts at once. In regard to the matrix, right? At least in regard to Christianity, I disconnected from Christianity in about 2018. I disconnected from it, and just as I was disconnecting from Christianity, I discovered Myth Vision podcast. Derek, you never answer my bloody comments, do you? Derek Lambert, you never answer my comments. Derek Lambert. Derek Lambert. Oh, yeah, Derek Lambert. Myth Vision podcast helped me greatly in making my complete separation from Christianity. And also, there is Howdy McCluskey, Jeff Murrah. At least 50% of the guests I greatly enjoy. Haven't tuned in for a while, but a while back I was tuning in often. About a year ago now, I got to the point where I thought, I've seen enough videos now, I've seen enough, and I got it. There's also Open Your Reality, and Jesus, what's his freaking name for his channel now? Is a bit of a bozo. He did a bloody video on him not that long ago. Next Level Podcast. Bloody, I don't know why I mentioned his name for. Alex from Next Level Podcast. Alex from there. Look, he gets good guests, but he can't interview properly. He's continually interrupting them. Oh, yeah, and I remember how this relates to me, and this relates to me. Let your fucking guests talk. I even edit that out. But Howdy McCluskey, who relates somewhat differently than the most and majority of the guests on Jeff Murrah, but gave me a great insight to things, great insight. And you've got, as I said, reading books about history is a key. Reading books is the key because you get the person's perspective. It's important. It's very important. I should be doing more reading, but reading the history books is very. I just think I'm one to talk because I haven't done a lot of it. Daffodils. The daffodils, yes. Do you know what? About 5 years ago, my sister was getting my nephew christened. We went out to Campbelltown somewhere, went to a church, and I said, oh, is this what you want to do? She said, oh, I'm getting it done. Mum really wants it done. And she said, Jimmy couldn't care less. She's just going along with it. And so she was like, Mum wants it done. And she said, I'm just going to get it done. So I took my nephew, who was about 4 or 5 at the time, and went to this church in, it wasn't a Catholic church, it was just, you know what, I can't remember now. It was a church in Campbelltown somewhere. And we went along, Michelle came along, we went along, and we're sitting there, and there was a few people getting done that day, getting, indoctrinated. A ceremony which really doesn't mean anything, but it's the tradition of things, you know. Get this done, it'll make the family happy. I was christened, made my Holy Communion, did my confirmation, Holy Communion, attended church, and at some point I thought I've had enough of this, and then joined the theatre, met some friends who were Christian, became Protestant orientated, and then further down the road went Christian, and then went out of it, then came back into it, and then went out of it, and then came back into it, then went out of it, and thought no, and then no, and then considered myself spiritual, and all the time I think, we're living in a matrix. I think this is a matrix. And so we're at this church, and there's 3 lots of parents there. And I think Jackson had his dunked some water on the priest or whoever it was, put some water and did the thing, and Jackson was fairly compliant to that. I don't think he even knew what was going on. I don't think he cared what was going on. There was a 12-year-old girl there. Maybe she was 10. She could have been 11. Some of them been 10 and 12. She was there. Chinese girl. Asian parents. Chinese girl. Right? And if we could redo this now, I would intervene. I would actually intervene. It came her turn. I've never seen a girl throw such a tantrum ever. I don't think I have. It was an impressive screaming tantrum. And the parents were being a bit sort of sheepish about it. The dad was like, oh, do it. He had this sheepish look on his face. The wife, they were both embarrassed. They were trying to control the girl. And they were like, come here. Oh, she okay. She was screaming. She did not want to have it done. She didn't see the point of it. Absolutely screaming. And I was like, Michelle? I was like, I don't think she wants to get done. And Michelle's like, I don't think so either. And I was looking at Trish, I think Trish was like, I was thinking about this the other day. And I was thinking I'd say, excuse me. Let her be. Doesn't want to do it. Just, let her be. And I'd have a few more words. I would say, just, she doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to do it. Let her be. And it was a full-on screaming tantrum. They eventually got her. They eventually held her down. Literally held her down. The parents held her down. The priest assistant, I think. The parents held her down. She was literally kicking and screaming. Christened her. She was and then she just was crying, screaming and crying. I've never seen something like it. And so we go through these rituals which we don't want to do. Our parents say, you're going to do this and you're going to do that, you're going to fall into suit, you're going to play the game, you're going to play the cards, this is what you're going to do, this is what I did, this is what my grandfather did, this is what my grandparents did, this is actually the great-grandparents, what did they do? What did they do? And because back in the day, back in the 1950s, it didn't really have the programming that you have now necessarily. It's full on, over the top, in your face every day now. Information overload, information everywhere, craving it every day. Back in the 1950s, you had TV and you had radio and you had advertisements for different things such as dresses and menswear and banks and flour, self-raising flour and pot plants and stamps and regular everyday things that people were doing. You had that. I think I can really only speak for Sydney. Melbourne and Queensland would have been similar. The Americans were had a bit more than that. The Americans had a bit more than that, but really it escalated. The advertisement of things, the subliminal messages, companies who were attempting to dominate your subconscious and tell you what to do, that escalated in the 1980s. I think that really escalated. It was about in the 1970s, but it really, I think, the further advancement of computers and how technology has advanced greatly, that started in the mid-80s and came into a bigger flourishment in the 90s, and then came full on in the zeros, and now it's a control. The media companies are attempting to control us, and to take a step back from it. You take a step back from it, and you think, how does that pertain to me? How does that pertain to me? What truth is that? What does that mean to me? What has that got to do with me? What have they got to do with me? Do I want that? Is it important to me? Mostly unimportant to me. Is it something I need to care about? No. And we get led in life by certain things, and also each situation that we're in life. That's when they're going to get you in the life review. All the situations that you've been in life. I started working on my life review in about 2018, and I thought, because I kept having memories of yesteryear, and one day I just decided to start writing them down. So every time I have a memory from yesteryear, I write it down. I think about how I felt. I think about how I affected the other person. It's usually some form of embarrassment. Sometimes it's a humiliation. Usually some form of embarrassment, whatever it is. I write it down. Say what happened, how the other person felt, how I felt at the time, how I feel about it now. I try to make amends with it. I try to make amends with it. And so I'm very remorseful about that, very remorseful. I make amends with it, and I'm like, how is that to me now? What's the truth there? How is it to me now? Because in the life review, if you end up doing the life review, because I'm really just tempted to get out of this matrix realm, this realm, because I'm not coming back. I'm determined not to come back. But with your life review, they're going to get you on it. But if you've already done your life review, if you've already done it, and you're okay and good with saying good with everything, it's a bit difficult. If you're good with most things, then they won't be able to get you. Oh, the Forever Consciousness Research Channel. That's a very important channel, the Forever Consciousness Research Channel. Let me just check how I'm doing for the back, because this is such a wonderful device. This device is wonderful, where I can just keep talking. With the other camera, what happened was it conked out about every 20 minutes, just shut down. And with this one, it just moves on to a new file, so it's wonderful to work with. It doesn't. The other one had about every 15 seconds it would unfocus, and then it had to refocus. And this is wonderful because it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's fabulous. It's fabulous. And so am I. I'm fabulous. I'm marvelous. Now, do you like my hair? Blow a bit of smoke out of my teeth. Like my hair. Like my high heels. No, I'm not wearing any high heels. The piece of evidence, if you will, that I need, I was thinking about this the other day, that I need to say that there is an afterlife, and that we're in a simulation, and after we pass from here, other realms to explore. Without knowing anything, like without having researched anything at all, just being on Earth and just looking about me for things that could say to me, when we pass, that's not it. I've said this before actually, well, primarily space, looking up at the sky at night, and looking at it and seeing the stars. I'm like, what is that? What is that? And I'm like, that's the key. It's like, what is this place? I mean, this place is all in here. It's all in here. Light comes into my eyes, and it transfers, an image is transferred, and it's all coded. But I'm like, what is this place? And I look at space, and I'm like, this is all something. It's something, because this is, we are, we don't cease to be when we go to the other side. My plan is to stay here for quite a while, actually. Yeah, like quite a while. Why not? I'm here. That's going to get as much time as I can. I'm here. I'll be here for a while. But I'm not coming back. I'm never coming back. Never coming back. Yeah. Even if they said to me, we can make your life simple next time, it'll be an easy one. I'm like, no, because this is the most important lifetime to me. I've learned the most. Had a lot of pain, lots of despair, suffering, anxiety. Had anxiety since I was 16. Traumatized. This is the most important lifetime to me. I'm never coming back. Never coming back. I'm going to go explore other realms. Possibility that I actually get out of the matrix. Actually, the matrix, you got the ring not pass. These things that I say, I don't say them flippantly. I say them easily, but in reality, they're not necessarily an easy thing. It's really being good with, being able to be at peace, be good with all the things that you've done in life, all the situations you've been in, and being able to be good with that. Being able to be good with that, and love, self-love, and having your self-love and being. It's very easy to say these things, but in reality they are a challenge. Being good with the things you've done in your life. And Hardy McCoskey talked about that largely. He's been discussing different things of recently. Forever Consciousness Research Channel. There's one for you. Because you've got some talent. Some people that think, you know what? Oh, and Dolores Cannon. Yeah, but she thinks Dolores Cannon. She's of it. She says, in your past, you have your life review, and then you say, well, I didn't quite get it quite right this time, so let's switch roles. I'll go as the daughter this time, or the mother, and we'll do it all over again. And it's like, her ideas are interesting but rather painful. No, I'm not fucking coming back. I'm not coming back here. Because she's like, we have to keep reincarnating until we get it right. Until we get it right. Until we get it right. I've learned a lot. Not doing this again. As long as I have Spotify on the other side, I've got music, I want my movies. Trying to remember my thought. It's real when that happens. The afterlife. Ghostbusters Afterlife. That was good actually. Ghostbusters Afterlife. You had Dolores Cannon in your actually you had this got this other channel as well, and the guy's like, you go through this life, you get to the end of it, and you wake up, and you're in a capsule, and you wake up, and you think, well, that was great, I learned this, and that, hey, wasn't that fun? And then you might just hang out for a while, and you think, hey, why don't this time I go and I be Bob, and I learn this, and that. And so really, it's, you're living all these different lifetimes, and you're learning, I'm never fucking coming back. And it's like, it's the soul trap. It's what the Archons want. It's how, it's loosh. We are loosh. It's what every time I see a newborn baby now, I'm like, oh, you got suckered in, you didn't get through the life review, you had to come back and see because so many people are indoctrined into patterns, into church, Christian, God. There is Buddhism, yes. There is Hinduism, yes. There is probably at least 40 different religions. Probably at least 40 different religions. And there's probably 40 different branches of Christianity. They branch off into so many different directions. Sometimes I stop and talk to the Jehovah's Witness on the street. I enjoy talking to them. No, I don't taunt them. I sometimes stop and chat with them. They love me. I sometimes chat with them. We have a good time. Yeah, we have a good time. Now listen up, cowboys. Because that person, they went through their life, they kind of complied, they had a church, they believed in God of sorts. They never really questioned anything too much. They got married, they paid their taxes, all that kind of thing. Not that there's anything wrong with marriage. Nothing wrong with marriage. It's just that and estimating a 30-year gap, so the newborn baby was there, maybe they passed 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago as an estimate, maybe in the 1980s or the 90s, who knows, maybe it's 100 years between lives, and I don't know how time works on the other side at all. But whatever it was, they went what you call the false light. And it's a bit of a dilemma with me because I feel that I wouldn't have too much of an issue with the life review at all because I'm working on mine at the moment. But it's like, if I go that false light, I'm going to be so careful because they're going to try to coerce me to come back. And I have rights. I don't have to do anything. And perhaps go into, and it's a huge big thing. I mean, I say this easily, but it's a person's life. I mean, it's a conclusion of your life here, and you go to the other side. I mean, it's a huge thing. What do? Do you go to the light, which they call the false light? Do you go to the light, or go into the void, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. The void. It's not a bad thing, but still probably a little bit scary, and it would be because it's you. You're passing, you're into another realm, and it's going to be all new. But however, you're going to do that life review, and they will coerce you. They will coerce you and say, you didn't quite get it right, you've got to go back. And you don't have to. I was going to say, all the newborn babies, they sound like you went into the light, you had the review, back you go. And I've never heard from my relatives who have passed. My sister says she has, and there's a bit of a clue left for me, because apparently amongst Auntie Margaret's last words and my dad's sister, her last words were, it's all true, they're all there. She was a Christian, born again Christian. Somewhere she said it's all true, but that's a contradiction because she says they're all there. Well, not all the family were Christian. They weren't all Christian at all. But she says, maybe it was the Archons trying to set me up in a way, because the Archons thought, now, someone's going to tell Patrick this, so what will we show her? What will we show her to manipulate Patrick a bit? I thought about this, because she said, it's all true, meaning what she believes, and I tried to decide this in my head last night to what possible angle she could be coming from, and I just kept arriving at, her Christianity. She said, it's all true, everyone's there. Everyone can't be there, because she meant relatives that I know that weren't Christians. So that's a bit of a and that came to me as third-hand knowledge. Third hand, it was. I think Suzanne says something. Trish related back to me, so it was like third hand, because I wasn't there. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it myself. I got it third hand, but there, when my grandfather passed, Mum's dad passed in 1984, late 80s. He was in his late 80s. I'm actually checking this. It just makes me feel better when I do. About 24 hours later, after Joe passed, Mum's dad, Mum was in the bathroom one evening, and she heard, Lorraine, Lorraine, and then there was just once. And oh, geez, I've questioned Mum on it over the years. Mum's like, oh, she says, Pat, I just heard Lorraine, and I'm like, did you hear anything else? No, Pat, no. She gets really frustrated. She's like, no. And I'm like, and when was she? She's like, oh, I was in the bathroom, I heard Lorraine, and it was Poppy's voice, and it was like, I mean, that's huge. It's huge. I mean, that is like, he was in the astral. He was in the astral. He might have still been attached to Earth. He was in the astral. And, but apart from that, no one has, I think I see Annie Margaret on the street sometimes. Every now and again, I'll see with someone, I'll be like, oh, looks like Annie Margaret, in her later years. And, but the two sides are separate. There's a frequency. It's not up or down. Hell doesn't exist. It's a frequency. It's in here. It's a frequency made up of atoms, or atoms. Atoms have a lot of space between them, a lot of space. There's a lot of patterns involved, a lot of patterns and codes. And we are atoms. And we're separated by frequency, by vibration. We're separated. This is all atoms. Everything, it's all atoms. So everything's all atoms. Everything is happening in here. It's all atoms. It is something. It all is something. It's a simulation. And religions are merely a distraction of a mixture of some truths and misinformation. And I think Buddhism is in favour of reincarnation. It's the soul trap. Hinduism, I'm not too sure about Hinduism. We might read up about Hinduism. And then you've got the Islam religion. I think a fair amount of Europe are, a certain percentage of Europeans are disconnecting from, or have disconnected from Christianity. America, and now America, the Midwest, the Bible route, the big Bible area. Oh yeah. And yeah, and as for Australia, we're a whole mix of things. We are a whole mix. But I don't know what you know about Australia, because I don't know how many Australians are watching this. I've got somewhat of a European audience. There's a few Americans in there. But if you've never been to Sydney or Australia, yeah, come on down to Sydney or Australia, mate. Come on down. If you've never been to Sydney, Australia, our technologies, where our council that be, our council that be, the government, attempting to make Sydney the most modern city in the world. our technology is iPads, laptops, iPads everywhere. So if you don't quite know what Sydney, Australia is like, lots of infrastructure, the government doing under a brand new big metro system which we don't need, CBD, all under, half it's under construction. I mean, half it's under construction with brand new things going up. Everyone's on their phone. Almost everyone's on their phone, and it's the information, like the information. We want information. We want information, and that's how it is. Because society wants it. I want information. I want information as well. I'm searching. I'm getting to truth. Getting to my truth. A truth. Getting to truth. And figuring this matrix out. I'm absolutely. If it's a matrix, that means it's projections and holograms and, geez, trying to comprehend space is extraordinarily difficult for me, extraordinarily difficult. But the generations that come along change society. They change society, and they rearrange the English language. I'm going to say, what a clever matrix it is, because you've got how many different languages in the world, how many different languages do you have in the world, how many different cultures in the world, and yet the same basic structure. You've got rich, you've got poor, you've got history, you've got a history, you've got basic structure, but many different languages, all different languages. In some countries, English is a second or third language. And in some countries, English is a first language. In Montreal, Canada, Montreal, they speak mostly French. Quebec, I think it's in Quebec that they speak French mostly. In Vancouver, I think it's a little bit of French, but mostly English. And you've got there's a lot of English-speaking people in Africa, I think. And in Iraq, people have English as a second language. And you've got Mongolia, you've got Russia and the Asian continent, Singapore and Thailand, and you've got South America, Antarctica is not what you think. Antarctica is not what you think. So don't let many people go to Antarctica. You know, I think that when you have a general anaesthetic, when you I'm going to keep checking this. I just have to, because at the point now where I'm... are you still with me? Fantastic. Now, fantastic. When you have a general anaesthetic, and then it's just like nothing. That's why I liken non-existence too. Because I remember being under general anaesthetic, and I was like, it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything. And that's how I liken non-existence to be. I mean, I wasn't sad. I wasn't. The memory of it is sad, but I was like, because when I came out of it and remember back to it, but that means I have a memory of it. But when I was, my memory to it was like it wasn't anything. There was just a blank spot. There wasn't anything. And then when I came to, it took me a while to remember myself. It took me when I first woke up, it was like a blank canvas, and I started remembering things. And I was like, when Mum came in, I was like, oh yeah, your Mum, right? Yep, your Mum. And my sister came out, oh right, you're my sister, you're Trish. But my Mum was like, I'd just been, and then it took me about 4 hours later. I was like, oh, okay, yes, I know what year it is now, and Did you ever do a Rubik's Cube? Did you ever do a Rubik's Cube and get so frustrated, you got to a certain point you took all the stickers off and just, I think I did that once, it was sort of cheating. Rubik's Cube, remember the 1980s, the Rubik's Cube, right? 1980s. John Farnham mortgaged his house. I know John Farnham's producer mortgaged his house back to the bank, and then Whispering Jack was a big hit, and his producer got his house back, and some. But why, yes. The outer reaches of space. My mind tries to comprehend it, but it can't. Can you comprehend it? Space? I have great difficulty. We're a vibration. We are a vibration. And the New Testament is a very interesting book. The Gospels are very interesting. I don't think Jesus did any of his miracles. It's all in code. It's all in code. I don't think Jesus didn't do any of his miracles. And he was I think he led a group of people who was of some influence. He got crucified. The rest is myth. The rest is just myth. And why did it take them why did it take someone 50 years to write about him? And another, the Gospel of Mark is placed at about 90 AD. Gospel, I think Matthew was written first, maybe 70 AD or 80 AD, because the Corinthians, which is the first book of Paul, was written at approximately, what was it, 70 AD? It was written in the 40s, or the 50s. It was written in the 50s. And 5 decades, 6 decades to write about someone who did a lot of apparently important things. Yes, the soul trap. That doesn't discount anything important here. This is important here. Just be aware of it. This is very important here. Goals, and it's very important for people to have goals. Do as best you can here. Make the most of here. But once it's done. That's it. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I don't know how many times I've actually lived this actual lifetime. How many times have I lived this actual lifetime? Because I feel like I've lived it quite a few times. How many times have I come back to this lifetime? My God, is it a loop? Is it a loop? How many times have I lived this lifetime? How many times have I lived this lifetime? If I said matrix open, how long have how many times have I lived this lifetime and maybe just done different things a little differently in each one? And like I've done things a little differently in each one. I've just done things a little differently. And then how many other lifetimes have I lived? But how many times have I lived this one? Oh my goodness. Okay. Whew. So, and the present younger generation, my goodness, on their phones, constantly on their phones. They didn't grow up with MTV or Rage. They've got no idea. They've got no clue. They're and all big companies, advertising companies, who are manipulating everyone, and do this, don't do that, do this, and people, they're going to carry on the family name, got to carry on the family name, got to carry it on, got to have a child, and then they'll get indoctrinated into the pattern. And yeah, ooh. I mean, is Earth a planet, or is it in our mind? Is it all in our head? Is space? What is it? Is the sun as far away as it is? What is the moon? Is the sun actually as far away as it says it is? Is it? And I'm getting a bit exhausted. Midnight Tally Man, Patrick, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I always forget to say that. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks so much for watching.